A growing and secret Bush administration war chest funding escalating undercover operations inside Iran aimed at destabilizing the government. Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter Seymour Hersh makes detailed and disturbing allegations in a new article in the New Yorker magazine. He joined us in the Situation Room last hour. Here's what he told us.
The submarines are ready. The destroyers are ready. The cruise missiles are ready. We've been exercising and training on this for years. We're ready to go. Of course we have been for a long time.
Let's bring in our senior Pentagon correspondent, Jamie McIntyre. Jamie, you've been working your sources today. What are you picking up on Hersh's story?
Well, again, there's a lot of non-denial denials about what Cy Hersh has reported, and a lot of winks and nods indicating that, yes, there is covert action underway in Iran. But as for the assertion that the U.S. is ready to strike Iran, I mean, on one level, it's true. The U.S. is prepared. On the other hand, the U.S. has made it pretty clear that it's the last resort. However, anytime you have a military option that's on the table, it remains an option. And what is the big concern at the Pentagon is that circumstances don't spin out of control, where there's a series of miscalculations and the U.S. has no choice but to go to war. On the other hand, if you're going to wave a military option as the stick behind a diplomatic carrot, you have to be willing to use it. And so when Cy Hersh says the U.S. is ready to conduct a strike if it has to, he's right.
All right, Jamie McIntyre for us at the Pentagon. Jamie, thanks. And Jack Cafferty joins us this hour with the Cafferty File. Good evening.
I would be disinclined to bet against Cy Hersh on this stuff. He's a pretty good reporter.
You know, people laugh at him, they ridicule his reporting, and I haven't seen anyone prove him wrong just yet.
No, might be a long wait.
Paul Watson, you got a big report coming out in the next 30 minutes or so at prisonplanet.com, boiling down the history of Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and other Muslim terror groups openly working for the U.S., Israel, and England, and then now more and more confirmed reports added to all the others of special forces aiding and abetting Al-Qaeda and Taliban.
That's right, Alex, and the latest thing that came out on this subject is a former Taliban chief who was allied to the Taliban, the same Taliban tribe that was blamed for the assassination of Benazir Bhutto. He defected from this tribe after he said they were carrying out mosque bombings and killing civilians. And he came out and said that this tribe was working directly with the U.S. intelligence establishment to destabilize Pakistan. And a few days after that, he was shot dead. So this was coming from a former Taliban member who defected because they were carrying out bombings and killing civilians. And he said they were working with the CIA. And he wound up dead a few days later. So that ties into what...
Oh, I forgot about that one that just happened. But we've had SAS, British Special Air Services, caught running around with fake beards, machine gunning and bombing troops in Iraq, this is saying Iran's doing it. I mean, it's wrong to kill our troops. And I know that's not patriotic nowadays, to not blow up our own troops. And I'm sorry if the military hates me because I don't want to kill you. I can't believe it's turned into this, Paul.
Well, I mean, we've warned ever since the war began, just after it finished, that the agenda was not to make the country peaceful and stable. It was to create chaos and to balkanize the country and break it up into small pieces. And that's been the plan since the 80s at least. And now
you're a real expert on this. Stay there. I'm going to come back. I'm going to sit back, Watson, run through the history of how Al-Qaeda, Taliban, and some of the Shiite as well are the sword of the New World Order. More and more I realize they are the key. They're going to use these guys to destabilize and take over the planet. Stay with us.
The president has to give a finding on covert action, any action that's covert. In other words, when CIA goes in someplace, if they get caught, there could be spies. So he has to tell the Congress about it. And the military simply is, the president, since 9/11, has decided that anything we do militarily, we don't have to tell anybody in Congress about. That's all preparing the battlefield. That's the title of the piece. And so what Congress gets told is something about CIA operations, and that's why they had a finding, but nothing about what the military is doing on the ground inside Iran.
Do you know anything about secret ops going into Iran, you all approving hundreds of millions of dollars for that?
Well, I haven't seen Cy Hirsch's article and really wouldn't have any comment on that.
Well, you would recall, though, if you had, in fact, agreed to special ops operations into Iran, wouldn't you?
I really wouldn't have any comment on that, Sandy. Candy, excuse me.
Okay.
Paul Watson continuing with this hidden in plain view that Taliban, Al-Qaeda are used to attack Iran. They're used to attack our troops in Iraq. They're used to attack and destabilize the Pakistanis. They were flown out after the Afghan takeover by the CIA in 2001, 2002. That's on record. The airlift of evil flying them out. The generals getting mad. I mean, when are we going to admit that these Muslim extremists are the pretext to destabilize and take over countries, and then they pull out, and the globalists have a pretext to go in and take things over? That the globalists have bought off these tribal warlords, and that they've got these cult-like followers that'll do whatever they're told in these clans. And if we don't wake up, but they keep using these people to scare us into submission and kill our troops, I mean, this is outrageously asinine that then we're bad for reporting the facts here.
It's amazing, Alex. I mean, it's on the record that these terrorists, these Al-Qaeda, whatever you want to call them, they've been moved around the globe since the end of the 70s to every single area where the United States has a war and where the CIA needs their help in destabilizing a country. From the Afghanistan war, they were moved to Bosnia in just after the war started in Bosnia in 1992 to help with that campaign. Then after that ended in 95, and following the NATO bombing of Serbia and Yugoslavia in 99, they were hired then to train the KLA, the Kosovo Liberation Army, and the ethnic Albanians.
All on record. All on record. None of this is our opinion, folks. Go ahead.
There's a headline out of the National Post, Canada. U.S. supported Al-Qaeda cells during Balkan Wars. And that runs through the evidence of how they moved them from Afghanistan to Bosnia to Serbia. And now they've moved them back to Afghanistan and then Pakistan in the time since. So it's like.
And then meanwhile, all these David Horowitz neocons get up and say, give up all your rights. Al-Qaeda will get you. They all know good and well. This is such a sick joke how on the chessboard this key piece is used to menace everybody into going along with the New World Order.